Can Iraq really reduce the value of the US dollar? A deep dive into the central bank's strategy. The Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, has recently made headlines with its announcement that it plans to reduce the value of the US dollar within Iraq in the coming days. This statement has sparked significant debate and speculation. Can Iraq truly influence the value of the US dollar? How will this impact the Iraqi dinar, IQD, and the economy? And what role does the controversial Delete the Zeros project play in all of this? In this article, we will break down Iraq's strategy, explore the realities of currency valuation, and analyze whether the CBI's plan is feasible. Can Iraq control the value of the US dollar? To answer this question, we need to understand how currency values are determined. The US dollar, USD, is a global reserve currency, meaning its value is influenced by a complex mix of factors such as US Federal Reserve policies, global trade balances, interest rates, investor confidence. Since Iraq does not control these factors, it cannot directly alter the value of the US dollar itself. However, what Iraq can do is manipulate the exchange rate between the Iraqi dinar and the US dollar. This means the CBI's goal is to strengthen the dinar rather than directly devalue the dollar. By strengthening the dinar, Iraq could make it appear that the US dollar is losing value in Iraq. But in reality, this would simply mean that one US dollar buys fewer Iraqi dinars than before. The Delete the Zeros project, a game changer? One of the biggest pieces of Iraq's economic strategy is the Delete the Zeros project, which has been discussed for years. The idea behind this project is to remove 3 zeros from the current dinar denominations. For example, a 1,000 IQD note would be redenominated to 1 IQD. Why would Iraq want to do this? The key motivations behind this project are making transactions easier. Carrying large stacks of currency can be inconvenient for both individuals and businesses, boosting confidence in the dinar. If done correctly, this could increase trust in the Iraqi currency and reduce dependence on the US dollar, increasing the purchasing power of the dinar. Theoretically, a stronger dinar means that goods and services become more affordable for Iraqi citizens. The challenges of removing zeros. While this idea sounds appealing, it is not a simple process. The biggest risks include inflation. If not managed properly, removing zeros could cause rapid inflation, hurting consumers. Public trust issues. If citizens fear that the move will devalue their savings, they may rush to convert their dinars into dollars, causing economic instability. Economic readiness. Iraq needs a stable banking system and economic infrastructure to ensure that this transition is smooth. If Iraq does not implement strong policies to manage this transition, it could lead to severe financial disruption rather than economic stability. The role of oil in Iraq's currency strength. Oil plays a critical role in the strength of the Iraqi dinar. Iraq's economy is heavily dependent on oil exports, meaning any change in oil prices directly impacts its currency value. If oil prices rise, Iraq earns more revenue, which can strengthen the dinar. If oil prices fall, the government may struggle to support the economy, leading to a weaker dinar. A prime example of this was in 2020 when oil prices crashed due to the global pandemic. Iraq's economy suffered, and the government had to take emergency measures to stabilize the dinar. What happens next? Key factors to watch. If you're following Iraq's economic situation closely, here are some key indicators to watch. 1. Oil prices. Since oil is Iraq's main economic driver, fluctuations in oil prices will have a direct impact on the dinar's strength. 2. Inflation rates. If inflation starts rising in Iraq, it could signal economic instability, which
Understanding the dinar. More than just a currency. Currencies are reflections of a country's economic confidence. When Iraq invests in its people, builds infrastructure, attracts foreign capital, the dinar gains credibility. A strong economy creates a strong currency, not the other way around. We've seen it in countries like Turkey, whose economy grew despite inflation, Vietnam, which remains a hotbed of manufacturing and exports. Iraq can do the same, especially with the global spotlight turning its way. The youth factor, Iraq's untapped human capital. Let's not ignore Iraq's most powerful resource, its people. Over 60% of Iraq's population is under the age of 25. This is a generation eager for education, employment, and entrepreneurship. Young, tech-savvy, and ambitious, they're driving change from the ground up. As new industries emerge, tech, logistics, construction, renewable energy, young Iraqis are ready to lead, and with government support, they could fuel an economic renaissance, policy shifts and reforms, building a friendly business climate. Behind the scenes, the Iraqi government is working hard to create a more stable financial environment, new banking regulations, transparency in currency exchanges, digital payment platforms, incentives for foreign investment. These reforms don't make headlines, but they lay the foundation for long-term growth. When investors see legal clarity, efficient infrastructure, low corruption, they commit capital, and that capital strengthens the dinar naturally, lifting the three zeros: redenomination versus revaluation. Now let's address the lifting the three zeros plan, one of the most misunderstood topics in Iraqi economic policy. What does it mean? It's a redenomination, not a revaluation. It involves removing three zeros from currency notes. For example, 5,000 IQD becomes 5 IQD. Why do it? Simplifies transactions, reduces confusion in pricing, makes accounting and international trade smoother. Will it change currency value? Number redenomination does not automatically increase a currency's value, but it does improve usability, public perception, and international credibility. This step would symbolize a more mature economy, policy stability, a shift toward global integration, rebuilding confidence, the psychological power of simplicity. When coffee costs 5,000 dinars, it feels overwhelming. When that same coffee costs 5 dinars after redenomination, it feels normal. This perceptual shift matters more than people think. It builds consumer confidence. It makes foreign investors more comfortable. It helps local businesses scale operations more effectively. Think of it as rebranding a currency for the modern world. How to prepare for the change. Smart financial strategy. If you're an investor or someone who follows the dinar closely, here's what to do. 1. Stay informed. Follow reliable news sources. Watch government economic announcements. Subscribe to IQD to VND for real-time updates. 2. Consult a financial advisor. Economic reforms affect assets. Know where to place your bets. Diversify your holdings and evaluate risks wisely. 3. Reevaluate your investment strategy. Look for assets that may gain value as Iraq stabilizes. Consider real estate, agriculture, and infrastructure-linked funds. 4. Engage with the community. Join forums, comment sections, and online groups. Share experiences and get new insights. Collective wisdom can help you avoid mistakes. Digital money and crypto, the next frontier. As Iraq modernizes its economy, digital currency adoption is inevitable. Digital wallets, online banking, and even crypto integrations are coming. The Iraqi central bank has already discussed currency digitization pilots. In the long run, this could help Iraq become a regional fintech leader, but with opportunity comes risk. Watch out for scams. Economic transitions are a magnet for misinformation. Always verify sources and consult experts before making big financial moves. What this means for the dinar. The big picture. This isn't just about lifting zeros or trade corridors. It's about a fundamental shift in Iraq's global position. The future dinar will be backed by real economic activity, operate in a digitally modern economy, reflect the confidence of its people and institutions. That's more powerful than any speculative revaluation. The global reset and commodity-backed currencies, a perfect storm. While Iraq makes strides, the world is preparing for larger changes. The BRICS nations are discussing gold-backed currencies. China and Russia are reducing dependency on the US dollar. Global trade is becoming more decentralized. In this environment, a resource-rich country like Iraq, with oil, gas, minerals, and agriculture, is in a prime position. As commodity-backed systems take hold, Iraq's assets will gain more value, and the dinar could eventually become a regional anchor. Final thoughts. Iraq's road ahead change is coming, and Iraq is on the front lines of it. Yes, challenges remain. Political instability, security concerns, bureaucratic hurdles. But with smart leadership, global partnerships, and the resilience of its people, Iraq can become a model for economic rebirth. Call to action. Join the movement. If you found this article valuable, like this post, leave a comment. What's your take on Iraq's economic transformation? Do you believe in the dinar's future? Subscribe to IQD to VND for weekly updates, insights, and breakdowns of currency news and global economics. Help us reach 400 subscribers by the end of April. Every click matters, and your support helps us keep delivering real, research-based analysis. Together, let's stay ahead of the curve, stay informed, and be ready for what's coming next.